Messy Ella. Messy Ella by Alan MacDonald. Illustrations by Becky Black. Come to my party. Messy Ella lived with her mom and her two sisters, Primrose and Daisy. Primrose and Daisy were twins. They were always neat, tidy, and as sweet smelling as flowers. Messy Ella wasn't neat or tidy, she was a mucky, muddy kind of hippo. One day a letter arrived at Messy Ella's house. It was an invitation. Please come to my garden party tonight, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Pottingham Palace, Prince Potsy. Messy Ella showed the invitation to her sisters. They grabbed it at once. A garden party? What fun! Primrose said. There'll be lots of yummy food. And ballroom dancing, Daisy said. I bet Prince Potsy will dance with me. No, he won't. He'll dance with me, Primrose nodded. Can I go? Messy Ella asked. Oh no, Primrose said. You are much too messy. Messy Ella looked at herself. She was a bit of a mess. She had been making mud pies in the garden, but she loved parties, so she went to find her mom. Please, can I go to the party, Mom? Messy Ella begged. Please. She kept on and on, until at last her mother gave in. But you must look clean and tidy, her mother warned. Messy Ella was so excited she ran upstairs and put on her dress. Chapter 2. We'll look after you. Oh, Messy Ella, don't wear that dress now, said her mom. You will get it dirty. I won't, Mom. Messy Ella promised. I'll be very careful. All right, her mother sighed. But if you spoil that dress, you can't go to the party. Messy Ella sat on the sofa. She didn't move. She wanted to run and play, but she didn't dare to get her dress dirty. Primrose and Daisy smiled at one another. Come outside with us, Daisy said. But what about my dress? Messy Ella said. I'll get it dirty. We'll look after you, Daisy smiled. Okay, said Messy Ella. I'm bored of sitting here. Primrose and Daisy took Messy Ella down the road. There were lots of muddy puddles. Messy Ella, I bet you can't jump over that puddle, said Primrose. I could, said Messy Ella. I'm good at jumping. She tried to jump over it. See, said Messy Ella. I told you I could do it. Oh, Messy Ella, you are clever, smiled her sisters. Then they came to a prickly hedge. Messy Ella, I bet you couldn't crawl through that hole in the hedge, said Daisy. I bet I could, said Messy Ella. I'm good at crawling through holes. At first she got stuck, but the twins pushed and Messy Ella crawled through the hedge. Oh, Messy Ella, you are brave, sniggered Primrose and Daisy. Then they came to a stream and Daisy spotted a rope swing. I bet you couldn't swing across the stream on that rope, said Daisy. I could, said Messy Ella. I'm good at swinging on ropes. Messy Ella held onto the rope and her sisters gave her a big push. She almost waded across. Almost, but not quite. Oh dear, said Messy Ella. You are a mess, Primrose giggled. When Messy Ella got home, her dress was muddy, torn and dripping wet. Her mom was very cross. Look at you, she stormed. Your dress is ruined. Now you'll have to stay at home and miss the party. Chapter 3. Swish Swoosh. Messy Ella begged and begged, but it was no good. At 6 o'clock, her sisters went off to the party without her. Bye-bye, Messy Ella. We'll tell you all about it tomorrow, they giggled. Messy Ella went up to her room in tears. She lay on her bed and cried and cried. She really wanted to go to the party. She really wanted to go to see Pottingham Palace and meet Prince Potsy. It's not fair, she sobbed. I wish I could go. There was a puff of pink smoke. A kind old hippo stood smiling at her. Who? Who are you? Messiella sniffed. I am your fairy godmother, said the old hippo. Why are you crying? Messiella explained about her sisters and how she had ruined her dress. The fairy godmother listened. Then she waved her wand. Messiella, she said, you shall go to the party. Messiella looked down at her clothes. Her torn, muddy dress had vanished. Now she was wearing a sparkle t-shirt and jeans. Wow, said Messiella. I look great, but how can I get to the party? I'm late already. The fairy godmother waved her wand again. Messiella's muddy trainers turned into silver roller blades. Oh, thank you, fairy godmother, cried Messiella. She whizzed off down the robe at top speed. Chapter 4 Who's That? Messiella arrived at Buckingham Palace. She zoomed in on her rollerblades and skidded to a halt. All the other hippos stared at her. Prince Potsy stared most of all. Who's that? Primrose whispered to Daisy. I don't know, Daisy said. She looks a bit like our messy little sister. Don't be silly, Primrose said. She is much too pretty. Anyway, Messiella's at home. Prince Potsy leaped onto the table. Okay, everyone, it's time to play some games, he shouted. Games? Said Primrose. I don't like games. And what about the ballroom dancing? Asked Daisy. But the prince wasn't interested in ballroom dancing. He wanted to play jumping games and crawling through holes games, hanging on ropes games. Primrose and Daisy didn't want to join in, but they were the only ones who weren't playing. In the end, they had to. But they weren't good at games like Messiella. They got splashed jumping in the puddles. They tore their dresses crawling through the holes. When they swung on the rope, they fell off every time. Prince Potsy didn't even notice them. He only wanted to be with one person, the mysterious hippo on the silver rollerblades. Messiella had a wonderful time. Then the clock struck 9. Messiella said goodbye to the prince and whizzed home. She crept into bed before her mom came up to say goodnight. Primrose and Daisy weren't too lucky. Their mom met them at the door. Look at your party dresses, she gasped. They are ruined, ruined. They were sent straight to bed. Messiella was waiting for them. How was the party? She asked. Wonderful, Primrose said, telling a big lie. Prince Potsy danced with me all night, Daisy added. Really? Messiella smiled. Primrose and Daisy didn't answer. They were staring at the silver rollerblades at the end of Messiella's bed.